What really drives someone to choose a 700 square foot cabin on a mountain over a corner office? To spend weeks hiking groceries up an icy mountain path in winter instead of living somewhere more sensible? Or maybe for you, it's choosing to step back from a prestigious promotion to protect your peace, or saying no to another committee because your soul is crying out for something different. Hi there, my friend. I am Rachel Hupp, and you are listening to the Magic Mindfulness podcast. Now, recently on Instagram, I got a request to share what motivates you the most. And I think it is such a perfect question, especially as we are wrapping up 2024, because motivation isn't always what it seems from the outside, is it? Now, today I'm going to be sharing the real story about watching my mom's health decline starting at the young age of 49, about stepping off the endless corporate climb to bring more balance to my own life, and about finding the courage to build a life that some people might not understand, but that feels absolutely right to me. What I've learned is that true motivation comes from aligning your life with what matters the most to you, even when that means making unconventional choices, choices that those around us may not understand or even agree with. It's about having the courage to define success on your own terms and the self awareness to pursue what genuinely lights you up. So, whether you are feeling trapped in a successful life that doesn't quite fit, or you're just curious about what could motivate someone to make what may seem like unconventional choices, choices that you don't understand. My hope in sharing my story, my motivation with you, is that it will help you to find your own motivation. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. Now, you know what's interesting about success? We so often think that it's this one size fits all thing, right? At least that's what I thought growing up. Graduate college, check. Get the big job, check. Buy the big house, check. Climb that corporate ladder, check, check, check. I fell for it too. I want to share a story with you that helped to open my eyes about this, right? So, I did everything I was supposed to. I went to college, got a good job, and it was time for me to buy the house. I was 31 years old, and this was my first house, and I was buying it on my own. And I was so proud that I was able to do this. I had this big decision to make, though. I was torn because I didn't know if I wanted to live way out in nature where I could hike every single day, or right in downtown Harrisonburg, Virginia, the friendly city where I could walk to everything. Have you heard of analysis paralysis? Now, I'm an overthinker and a perfectionist, recovering from both, kind of, but I think it's going to be a lifelong process. But I was so worried about making the wrong choice that I tried to compromise. I picked a place that was kind of in the middle. So it was about 20 minutes from town and a short drive from local hikes. But you know what I realized after I moved in? By trying to choose what seemed more sensible, by compromising, I ended up with neither of the things that I actually really truly wanted. Yeah, sure, I could drive to the trails, and yes, I could drive to Harrisonburg. What I missed out on, though, was that deep connection with nature and the simple charm of being able to walk to the farmer's market, right? To grab a cup of coffee downtown or to meet friends at one of the local parks. I was trying to have both by compromising, but what I found is that I really ended up with a watered down version of each of my potential paths. And so this was a really big wake up call for me, right? About success and about compromise. I thought that I was making a smart choice based on what kind of to an extent what other people might think, but also I wasn't really listening to myself. I wasn't trusting myself. And I wasn't listening to what I really wanted. You know, it's funny. It's funny how we do that, right? We take this blueprint of success that society hands us, the sensible home in a good area, and we try to make our dreams fit into it. But what if we did it the other way around? And this is exactly why I created the Personal Success Compass Guide, because so many of us face these moments where we are trying to make the sensible choice instead of listening to what truly calls out to us. So if you're interested, you'll find a link to download your Personal Success Compass Guide in the show notes. Now, today, I live in a 700 square foot cabin in the woods near the top of a mountain. And you know what? Some people think that I am crazy when I tell them that sometimes we have to hike our groceries up the mountain for weeks at a time in the winter because we can't get a vehicle up or down. When I first moved in here, someone very close to me said, it takes a really rugged person to live somewhere like this. And I'm like, have you met me? But anyway, you know what? Every single day, I get to walk out my door and I'm right in nature. I can hike from my front door every single day. When I'm sitting here recording this podcast episode for you, I am looking out over the Shenandoah Valley. I can see the peak of Massanutten Mountain from my house. I love it here. And that is success to me. That is soul aligned fulfillment to me. Here's the thing, success I have found is not about checking boxes off, especially on somebody else's list or a list that somebody else made for you. It's about having the courage to ask yourself, what truly lights me up? Now, for me, that meant choosing a smaller home in an unconventional location for some, stepping back from the corporate climb to teach more yoga and to do more of what I love, and creating a life that some people may not understand, but a life that feels absolutely right to me. That's my motivation. I want to feel good from the time I wake up in the morning until the time I go to bed at night. I want to feel inspired on a daily basis. And what I've learned is that when you define success for yourself, it feels so different. It feels like coming home, even if that home requires a hike up the mountain with your groceries in the ice and snow. But here's where it gets really interesting. Understanding what truly motivates us is a whole different journey. And you know what I have found is that sometimes life has a way of showing us what matters most. Now, for me, one of my biggest wake up calls about life, about motivation, it came through my mom. She was only 49 years old when she had her first stroke, and it left her partially disabled. It changed her life. She couldn't go back to work after that. And, watching her health decline starting at such a young age, it changed everything for me. I went from being motivated by things like promotions and paychecks to being driven by something deeper. This burning desire to understand wellness, to help others so that, I wanted to be able to help my mom to the extent that I was able, but I also didn't want anybody else to go through what her or my family have been through. It's devastating. Um, I dove into my yoga teacher training, and one of the projects was specifically around yoga for stroke victims. I wanted so badly to find ways to help my mom, and I felt powerless. I took some accessible yoga classes to help people who are limited by mobility. And, as her health kept declining and she developed other health problems, I found myself diving deeper into holistic wellness through health coaching, through life coaching, through deepening my yoga, my mindfulness practices. I was always searching for more ways to not only support her, I certainly wanted to support her to the extent that I was able and to the support that she wanted to accept, but also to support my own mental and physical well being while watching someone that I loved go through such hard times. And so when her physical abilities became more limited, I started sharing different breathing practices and meditation techniques to hopefully help her find some ease in the moment. And, it wasn't just about watching her health decline. It wasn't just about needing to feel like I could do something, anything to help. It was about realizing and recognizing how precious our time is. I'm 44. My mom was 49. Do you think she knew she was going to have a stroke at 49 years old that changed her life? No, she didn't. Every day is a gift. Every moment is a gift. That taught me that it was about so much more than climbing the corporate ladder or getting a bigger paycheck. And you would be surprised at how many women I meet who are waiting for some day to live the life they really want. What I've learned, what life has taught me, is that someday is not guaranteed. And if we want to create the life of our dreams, we've got to start today in this moment because that's all we know that we have. And so that completely shifted how I think about motivation. You see, there's this fascinating difference between being motivated by external things like money or status or what other people think and being motivated by something that comes from within. When I was climbing the corporate ladder, I was always chasing the next thing, a bigger title, a bigger paycheck, more responsibility. What I found by climbing that corporate ladder, I was taking my laptop on vacation. I was handling weekend calls, midnight emergencies. You know the drill, right? Always on, never really off. And I know so many of you understand this. You are doing everything right. You've checked all the boxes. You are successful by every external measure. But something's missing. There's this whisper inside saying there has to be something more than this endless climb. So here's what I discovered. That kind of motivation burned me out. It was like I was trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it, right? I kept pouring more in. No matter how much I put into it, it was never enough. It never felt like enough. Now, when I teach yoga, when I'm coaching clients, when I'm working with clients one on one or in a group setting, when I'm sharing yoga as a path to fulfillment, yoga philosophy as a path towards mindfully designing our best life, our path back home to ourselves, when I help other women find their own path, when I share what I've learned about wellness, when I share what I've learned about yoga, life coaching, energy work, meditation, mindfulness, that motivation comes from somewhere deeper. It's not about external rewards anymore. It's about doing things because I love them, because they matter, because they make a difference, because they align with who I truly am at my soul level, right? And you know what? When you find that kind of motivation, you don't have to push yourself so hard. Everything flows naturally. The energy flows naturally because you are doing what you are meant to do. And this is why, in that success compass guide that I made for you, the first thing that we explore is where you currently find your motivation, because understanding the difference between external drivers and internal wisdom can truly change everything. So, what might all this look like in real life? Well, people always ask me, how do you do it all? They see that I work full time. I teach yoga 3 to 4 times a week or more. I send out 2 newsletters a week. I have so much fun with them. I run a podcast weekly. I do social media. I offer coaching programs, group and one on one. And I'm planning my wedding for next fall. Oh, and somehow I still find time to walk the dogs almost every day, unless it's the weather's bad. My fiance and I love to cook dinner together. We love to have adventures, have fun together. I have a girls' night once a month. We've been doing that for a year now. And somehow I also find time to take care of myself, to slow down, to read, to go for walks, to get my workout in, to take a long bath, whatever feels aligned for me in the moment. So here's the truth. People always ask me, how do you do it all? I don't do it all. What I do is I choose what matters most. And here's the thing, here's what I found. When you're living in alignment with what truly motivates you, it doesn't feel like you're constantly juggling. It doesn't feel like you're constantly pushing through. It feels like you're flowing from one thing that lights you up to the next. And you might be thinking, well, that's great for her, but my situation is different. All of our situations are different. Here's what I want you to know. I don't want you to copy my choices. It's not about copying my choices. It's about giving yourself permission to listen to what your soul is telling you about your own path. Take my schedule. Yes, it's full, but nearly everything I do connects back to what matters most to me, to my core values. Sure, we've all got obligations that we may or may not want to do. That's part of adulting, right? But at the heart, when I move through my day on a day-to-day basis, nearly everything I do connects back to my core values, connects back to what matters most to me. People will ask me, why don't I give up teaching yoga? Why don't I give up coaching since I'm working full time? But I can't. It's my soul's calling. When something is truly aligned with who you are, it energizes you instead of depleting you. Now, again, coming back to that success compass guide that I designed for you, I'm going to actually walk you through a really simple but profound checklist that can help you to identify which activities, which choices truly energize you versus the ones that make you feel depleted. Because that is the secret. It's not about doing it all, it's about choosing what aligns with your soul, what aligns with your authentic self. What makes you feel alive? What lights you up? Living an aligned life, my friend, it's not about having it all figured out. I certainly don't have it all figured out. Sometimes it means hiking up a snowy mountain with your groceries because that is the price of living where your soul feels at home. Sometimes it means saying no to what looks good on paper so you can say yes to what feels right in your heart. So, coming back to the question, I love getting these questions, by the way. Come over to Instagram. I am Rachel Hupp, and let me know what you would like to see on a future episode. DM me. Coming back to this question, what really motivates me most in life? That's a complex question. I've tried my best to answer it here. It's this deep knowing that life is precious, that life is meant to be lived authentically, that all we have is right now, right in front of us. I saw that with my mom. At 49 years old, she had a stroke that changed her life. Most, if not all, of her future dreams evaporated into thin air that day. I felt it when I was trapped in the corporate world, climbing that ladder, taking my laptop on vacation with me, being on calls at midnight, being on calls all weekend long. And I live it now every day on this mountain. What drives me, what motivates me is not only moving through my days in a way that feels aligned at a soul level, but it's helping other women realize that they don't have to wait for someday to live a life that feels true to them. It's all about baby steps, moving in the direction of your dreams, one step at a time. Whether it's through my yoga classes, whether it's through my yoga philosophy course that's coming back in January, helping us find soul aligned fulfillment, bringing us home to ourselves by mindfully applying yoga philosophy to our daily lives in a very modern way. Coaching, even sharing stories like this one. My biggest motivation is showing others that it is possible to define success differently and to still thrive. Because when you align your life with what truly matters to you, with your core values, with your soul calling, that, my friend, that is when the real magic happens. And that's what I want for you. And here's what I want you to know. This isn't just my story. This could be your story too. Maybe your version of alignment looks completely different from mine. In fact, there's a really good chance that it will. Maybe it's not a mountain cabin. Maybe it's not teaching yoga, but I bet there is something inside you that is calling for more authenticity, more alignment, more of what lights you up, more of what truly matters to you. The key is to start listening to that voice, to trust yourself, to trust that when something keeps calling to you, even if it doesn't make sense to anybody else, there's a reason for it. Your motivation, your true motivation, is trying to tell you something. And just like yoga brings us home to ourselves, it teaches us to tune into our breath, to come back to our breath. We learn to tune into that inner wisdom, and it's a practice of coming back again and again and again, as many times as we need to. It starts with giving yourself permission to question whether the path that you are on is truly yours. And so, to leave you with one final thought to kind of wrap things up here, my biggest motivation, what really motivates me, what I've learned through my journey, through my experiences, is that true motivation comes from aligning your life with what matters most to you, even when it means making unconventional choices, even when it means making choices that those closest to us may not understand or even agree with. It's about having the courage to define success on your own terms, along with the self-awareness to pursue what genuinely lights you up. And so before we wrap up today, I do want to invite you to take the next step on your motivation journey. Now, again, it is late in 2024. It's a perfect time to slow down, turn inward, and reflect. And so if you are resonating with any part of this story, if you are feeling that pull to define success differently, but you're not quite sure where to start, I have created something special for you to go along with this episode, and it is called the Define Your Personal Success Compass Guide. And it walks you through the exact journey that I took to get clear on what truly matters and how you can start to take more aligned action starting today. I have distilled so much of what I've learned about defining success on your own terms into a practical framework, right? That you can use to start exploring what success really means for you, what really motivates you. So head on over to www.rachelhupp.com/episode 43, or just click the link in the show notes here where I've put together your free Define Your Personal Success Compass guide. And, this isn't just another worksheet. We've got plenty of those already, right? It includes powerful journaling prompts, a values clarity exercise, and practical tools to help you start defining success on your own terms. And not only that, I've actually created a companion video to go with it so that I can walk you through it step by step by step. Remember, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. I certainly don't. I still don't. You just need to take the first step towards living more authentically, towards living that soul aligned life that your heart is craving. As always, my friend, thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you have found value in today's episode, I invite you to share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. Until next time, keep listening to that inner wisdom. Trust yourself. It knows the way home.